Hey, we all face obstacles, but David Goggins, oh yeah, he attacks them head on every single morning. Today, coming up, Mornings in the Lab, we're breaking down the mindset, fueling his relentless discipline. This morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where
when something negative comes up.
Building muscle improves blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, Sean.
If your lady's saying that, you're doing
Being as a super
Be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? That's
Good morning, nation! Yes! I'm Keith Bilous, and we're here to challenge what mornings can be. And no easy chit-chat coming in here today. No, baby. We're diving deep into what it takes to excel in every aspect of your life. And if you got those little ones around, I know you do, you better stick the headphones on or walk them out of the room, because you might hear some words that might offend them and it might cost you some money. Yes, today we're dissecting David Goggins' morning routine. You know the guy that pushes it non-fucking stop. Hey, I told you it was an F-rated show. Hey, I'll tell you something. Goggins, commitment, pushing limits, and why it's not just about waking up early. No, baby. It's about how you show up. It's about how you go to bed the night before. And hey, coming up, we're joined by Larissa Holmes for Center Stage and Deep Dive to talk about her journey of transformation coming up on the lab. And listen, if this one hits for you, I invite you to do yourself a favor and do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We are here every weekday morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. That's where you're going to find us. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel, tell your friends you found the greatest morning show on the planet to help you get your ass out of bed. Jimmy, you know what happens here, pal? Let's rock and roll over to the stage. We got Christina in black on black on black. We got Richie on black on black. We got Bilous on black on black. We got Marty wearing the baby blue with the red headset. And Johnny, of course, is wearing the fuck excuses t-shirt, sucking on a cigar. What's going on, team? How are you this morning? Can you feel the energy boom?
sucking on a cigar. It seems so vile.
Well, that's what you do. You suck on a cigar, don't you?
That's not the verb you use.
Is that what you say?
That's not the verb.
You just
he also said we were an F-rated show, which must be a new rating.
Yeah,
it's a new rating. Fuck rated show.
That's right. That's exactly it. Good morning to all you tuning in. I see.
That's exactly it.
That's exactly it.
You've just found the greatest morning show on the planet. That guy over there is John Anderson. Oh, yeah, that girl over there, that's Christina Flynn. And that guy just over there, that's Richie Ingram. Came back from Iraq, kicking ass. And the guy in there in the middle, he's the boss, Christopher Martin. What's going on, boys? What's going on, girls? What's going on, everybody? Hey.
What's going on, man?
Well, I see Christina's officially one of the guys, because that guy over there is Christina.
Well, no, so you're opposite of me. You guys are opposite of me. Speaking of Christina, guys, I gotta fuck, man.
She's one of the bros now.
I know. I'm just giving you props, brother. You're just on fire, man. Just spitting the words, and of course you're one of the bros, Christina. But he's just coming at it this morning. I love it.
You know what, guys? Flynn. I forgot to tell you this. I forgot to prompt Flynn on this morning, but Flynn had a fucking moment a couple of days ago in the house. And I want to invite Flynn to the stage to share with Business Athlete Nation her morning. Marty, Johnny, Richie, Christina, what is it like having a white carpet? And, well, listen, why don't you explain what happened in the Flynn household a couple of days ago?
So I did it like reality or expectations versus reality. Normally, you get up, you do your thing, you get ready before the kids, because obviously then you're not getting ready. Doing the damn thing, you pack them up. It's chaos, but you get them out the door.
Richie's gonna love this. Richie, listen.
The other day, I'm doing that. It's going okay. We're doing all right. We're getting ready to go out the door. My 2-year-old unloads in his diaper. It goes everywhere. One of those. You all know those.
Unloads like took a dump. Did you have a diaper on?
Yeah.
Took a dump, but it like with the diaper on.
Just still exploded out. Everywhere. Yeah, one of those ones that the diaper almost seemed non-existent.
We call them blowouts.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God. Okay, I'm gonna go it's chaos. So I'm going to go and I'm going to take him in the bath and I'm going to like hose him off. And I'm hosing him off while he's yelling at me, firefighter. And he's trying to grab the hose from me. Then I go back into the room. We're all sorted. He's dried up. I'm going to change him. I left the diaper on the ground and my dog ate it and then spread the shit all over my carpet. And yes, I changed my kid on my white carpet. I understand that's like in and of itself wacky, but
yeah, white carpet.
So then I had to take my dog.
That motherfucker out. All right, we're getting a new rug.
It's a ruggable. So it is made to be washed. So thank God I'm at least there. But so then I take the dog into the bath and I have to bathe the dog. And my son comes in and he's changed now because my mother-in-law's helping out. She gets him changed. And my dog shakes off and puts shit water all over my son. So I have to change him again. And that's how my morning started. You can't make this shit up, folks.
Marty is coming, brother. Marty is coming for you.
I'm in no rush. I'm taking my time.
Well, you know, it even goes into the after the kids. I mean, our shit. We're empty nesters, right? And and so one of our the female pit bull, she gets jealous, and when she gets jealous, she'll basically take a dump somewhere. That's what she does when she says, I need more attention. So she takes a dump in one of the spare bedrooms that we don't go into often. The fucking Roomba, that goddamn robotic vacuum, goes in there and fucking completely runs this turd over and fucking spreads it. You know, we got like the baseboards that are like 9 inches high. Well, it looked like it had like a 4-inch fucking brown strip around the whole fucking room. And that Roomba just ate that turd and spread it everywhere. Unbelievable. I walked in there and I was like, honey. She looked in there. We basically looked at each other, closed the fucking door, and said, call the cleaning lady.
I'm not getting a dog
that's
now.
When you're like, throw it out. I don't care. Burn it.
It's just there's something about turds, man. They never stop haunting you.
Since Marty's been hanging with us, we've changed Marty's entire future. No children, no animals for Marty. Just Marty in the future. Just Marty. So, you know, Christina, it makes me wonder, but we as adults and humans, what our purpose is. Is our purpose just to clean our kids' asses when they're shitting everywhere? Is our purpose to just be the esteemed parent whenever? Well, listen.
No, it's succession planning.
Is that what it is?
Humans.
That's what it is.
Someone's going to need to wipe our ass later.
Well, listen.
We need to continue on the generation so that we're taken care of.
We're talking David Goggins' extreme discipline, relentless pursuit of discipline coming up this morning on Morning Live with Keith and Friends doing the Morning Loop. The unpredictable 15 minutes to start your day, 8 o'clock Eastern time on this show. Marty dropped something in my feed this morning, team, that I wanted to play for all you guys. It's awesome. Talks about purpose. And you know what this show's all about, right? The show's all about getting your
So you have an internet.
Often talk about his purpose, right? And Christina's purpose a couple of days ago was to clean.
Fumigating.
just clean. So Jimmy,
hey, real quick, Keith, you know I'm always hesitant to send you a video now. Since I sent you that Tom Brady video, you were like, I don't like it. and John and Tina loved it. I think Richie was here that day too.
That's right.
I think so.
So yeah,
if a vagina doesn't have 2 holes or a cock got 3 heads, or if it doesn't have 3 fireman's caps, Keith doesn't like it. You know.
All right, so we got a fun video here. We're gonna put it on the screen here. That we Jimmy, let's throw it up here. We'll have a quick little chat about it. Check it out, team.
Deion were to leave, he would be viewed with the utmost amount of love. I asked him point blank last week on Friday, do you want to go to the NFL? He said no. And he said, my purpose is to be a coach, but it is more so to mentor young men. And I don't believe I could do that as my calling and my purpose at the NFL level that I can do that at the college level. We had a long discussion on Friday about Warren Sapp. And Deion said something that was profound and absolutely accurate. And he said the only issue with Warren was that he didn't have a purpose after he got done playing. We gave him that purpose. And then you see Warren on the sideline, and his eyes are big, and he's got the headset on, and he's in it, man, with those kids. And that is something very profound for any of us who have played athletics at a decently high level, and certainly some of these guys that have gold jackets. And all of a sudden, when the music stops and that merry-go-round stops and you're not Warren Sapp, the defensive tackle, or Deion Sanders, the two-sport star, you've got to find something in your life and some calling and some purpose. Deion found that as a coach, and he's a damn good coach.
That's powerful.
I love that clip, man.
So good.
What did you love about it, Marty? Marty, when you saw it, something struck inside of you. You're like, I got to share it with Keith and the team. What struck you, Marty, instantly when you saw that?
Well, just to give context, Deion, two-sport athlete, played in the NFL, played in the MLB.
One of the greatest of all time.
One of the greatest of all time. When he retired, he did some broadcasting, and I guess that didn't work out for him. I don't think he liked it, to be honest with you. And then he started coaching, and now he's just like a superstar celebrity now. Warren Sapp, same thing, Hall of Famer. And I get a lot of guys who play at that level, they kind of lose themselves when the game is over. Like myself, when I stopped playing college basketball. So I just love to see someone find their passion, kind of like how I found my passion for fitness. And last thing, one of my friends hit me up a couple weeks ago to train some kids. And I'm like, let's fucking go. So now I might be having some more shit on my plate in spring because I just love it,
Oh, I love my purpose. I love that.
And
hold on, Richie. Good morning, Danny, FF Gamer. We see you. What's going on here? This is the only morning show on the planet to help you get your ass out of bed. We go live 8 o'clock Eastern time. I invite you to like the channel, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends all about this channel. I'm Keith. That's Marty. That's John. That's Richie. He's about to say something very shortly. And that's Christina over there. We are a morning show to help you get your day started. And yes, we are live. What do you got to say? Richie, what's shaking, brother?
So I think it's similar with the military, right? Like you see people that are soldiers that are retiring from the service. And there's actually, I forgot the guy's name, but he set up a program where NFL retirees and military retirees come together as a cohort and partner up because they go through athleticism, professional athlete, and military. It consumes your life. I mean, similar, same thing with John. Like, what do you do when you're done, man? It's like life's not fucking over. You just got to find your purpose and what's next. So I like that.
And I mean, I've seen this countless times, right? Like being in the NBA, you see players, and Marty raised it, that right now the options are personal brand, which is ideal, broadcaster, assistant coach to head coach. Maybe you're a scout on the road, but those are really the options that are available to you as it is perceived. It's not reality, but that's what's perceived. So to be able to look at things from a different perspective and really sit down and say, like, what am I here for? What's the point? And what is my identity now that a core part of what I thought my identity was has been stripped away? Because that's really what the question is.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who doesn't have a question. David Goggins, a man with discipline, a man who just doesn't wake up. No, man. He goes to war with himself every single morning. Listen, discipline is forged in the fire of discomfort. Ask Richie. Ask Johnny. Ask Marty. Ask Tina. David Goggins embodying that to the fullest. Today, we're going to explore what it takes. His morning so powerful. Why does he go to the extremes? Why does he do it? To him, to Goggins, it's not about a gimmick or a trend. No, he gets up and he goes. It feels more like survival. So he calluses his mind every morning by testing his limits before the day even begins. Today, in the second hour, 9:15 Eastern time, we're going to dive deep into the conversation with David Goggins, how his approach may just be what you need, or maybe not. Maybe you don't subscribe to the Goggins approach, or maybe you do. John, Marty, Christina, Richie, are you guys fans of Goggins? Richie, starting with you, brother. You're an outdoor endurance guy, former military guy. When you hear David Goggins, what do you hear of Richie?
Yeah, I'm on the fence with him, but I do think his message is important, right? Like, it's no matter what fucking happens, you have to get it done. Now, I will say this. For those of us with young kids, hey, look, you're going to have to cram it in. You can't always expect to wake up every morning, 4 o'clock, same thing. So, you're going to have to take his message and personalize it, tailor it to you.
I love his message is extreme, no questions asked. But if you boil it down, tame it down, what he's saying is, and I love it. And I use this same philosophy myself is, you train the body to tame the mind. And, he's at the extreme level where he trains the shit out of his body to callous the mind, as he says it. But I mean, most people will benefit from training the body to calm the mind, call it. Forget tame. Maybe you don't want to tame the mind. Maybe you just got to fucking quiet it down. Catch a sweat. See what happens.
Tina, thoughts on Goggins?
I mean, listen, it's exactly that. I think you love him or you hate him for the most part. I do like this idea of intensity, and I'm excited to have Larissa Holmes on today because I know she subscribes to a lot of this mentality, and she believes that some of that has actually gone away in recent days, and maybe we'd benefit from bringing it back. For me, it's a matter of I like knowing all the options, which is what we try to do here on the show, and then picking and choosing the parts that I really like. I'll be honest, when Goggins in his book talks about like that inner voice, he would take shit that people would say to him, really fucked up shit that people would say to him. He'd put it on record and he'd listen to it and he'd listen to it. That's next level. I've been trying to get away from that voice, not make it stronger, but you have to find what works for you. And I'm not anyone, nor are any of us the right people to say, don't do this or don't do that. That's only for you to decide.
You know, I want to make sure that when I was saying what I was saying, that it's a full support. I think the guy's a savage. He's what he does. He leads to an extreme level so that people can see what the extreme is. You can scale it back to what works for you. Yeah. You know, I think that's what's important is that he's taken his message to the furthest point of anyone. Now, if you like that, you shouldn't say probably. I don't know. There's another human that can do what he does at this point, but you could scale it back to, you could scale it back to 10% of what he does and get benefit.
Not all or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny,
I mean, for the average person, you can take a little bit of what he does and gain a lot of value.
But Johnny, what I like about Goggins and what I like about you is you guys remind me of the same principle of this. Basic is normal. Basic is for most of society. Those that eat eggs whole, those that do the shit that others don't want to do are the ones that excel. And you really have to look no further than David Goggins because, you know, maybe David and Johnny are one and the same, but David has a platform that he just continues to show the world that it takes another level. You know, it takes doing shit that no other human on the planet is probably going to do. Maybe one other person you're going to find, but it's just, that's how his mindset is, Johnny.
You know, it's like, there's things that like at high level athletes going to do some crazy shit. Like I tore a groin. I shouldn't say tore. It was pretty bad strain. It was colored up and it was in the middle of a 3-day contest. And so we wrapped the shit out of that so I could continue to compete. And I had to squat to do with that, which is, as anybody that squat knows, that's going to put some pressure. But I just basically sat more on one side and pushed through it. This is a guy who had like stress fractures and broken feet and taped his feet to where they wouldn't fall apart. We couldn't feel him to keep running. I mean, it's like he's taken what the average athlete, I shouldn't say the average high level athlete does, which is strap it up, you know, cover up the pain best you can and limp along. And he's taken that to a whole nother level. And I think that, again, I love the fact that he's taken things so extreme because it shows what's possible and people need to see that.
A model of possibility.
It's the model of possibility. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep the energy going. Jimmy, let's get everybody off the stage. Let's welcome Larissa Holmes up in 90 seconds. Right now, we're going to do the accountability check-in. All right, listen, guys, we're talking David Goggins today. He does not just wake up. No, baby. He launches into a battle. Goggins' mornings are a deliberate and ruthless push against anything easy, doing anything that's not basic, diving straight into discomfort, cold plunges, punishing runs, anything to build that mental armor, because he knows that the way you start your morning dictates how you face the entire day. There's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. Here's the real question I got for you, nation. Listen. Damn it, are you ready to get uncomfortable to be the best version of yourself? Or are you just going to roll over and go back to bed and hit the snooze button? Because there's somebody getting up right now. Jack Dugan is, Good Time is, a lot of business athlete nations getting their ass out of bed and going after it. So I want you to think about this. What's one thing you can do tomorrow morning to deliberately break your comfort zone? No excuses, no hesitation. Set a challenge that scares you. Commit to it. And let us know in the comments. Come back tomorrow and tell us what you're going to do. Yeah, I know Thanksgiving weekend's coming up. What does that mean? You're going to roll over and go back to bed? I invite you to reconsider it. Because we're here every Monday to Friday, regardless of what day it is, what holiday it is, to keep you accountable to your big, audacious goals. Here's the thing, nation. We're not here to sell you a system. Bring your system to the table. We will be your accountability partner every single day here, Monday to Friday. Listen, share this segment with someone who needs to toughen up their mornings. And if you're serious about pushing boundaries, the League of Business Athletes is open for applications. 100 days, 100 hours, 10 men, one life-changing transformation. Are you ready? Come check it out, BAPL.ai. Find us there. Will you qualify? All right. Let's bring up. Good morning, good time. Good to see you there, brother. I see somebody up there in the comment. I see somebody there in the comments. All right, let's do this. Listen, joining us today is Larissa Holmes, somebody who knows transformation all too well. And Jimmy, what I'm going to do, Jimmy, is I didn't prep you on this one, Jimmy, but we are going to open up this gamma, and we're going to do this gamma with Larissa Holmes here today. So, Larissa. A little surprise here. Good. Look at you, Larissa. We got some new visuals here on the stage. We're welcoming guests to the stage here. So Larissa is an authentic leadership in action. Larissa Holmes. She's got a diverse path to leadership, a bartender, management consultant, chief people officer, C-suite executive. She's an expert in scaling companies, a startup to enterprise growth, high-performing teams, complex project execution, and M&A experience. Hey, you want M&A experience? That's pretty awesome stuff there, Larissa. Strategic advisory services, change management, growth strategies, leadership development, and empowering women in leadership. I love that because that's what we stand for here in the lab as well. Quick action, work-life balance. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Come on, Larissa. And uncertainty in management. And of course, she provides real and authentic leadership with some crisis management. I am excited, honored, and delighted to welcome to the stage today, Larissa Holmes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Larissa.
Good morning, Larissa. How are you?
Nice to be here.
What's up, Larissa?
So we like to ask the question of everybody when they first jump on the show, Larissa. The one most important question for our morning show is this. What is Larissa Holmes' morning routine?
I'm with Rich a bit. I was on a little bit earlier and heard that I also have young kids, so there needs to be some variability and some baked in time for a bit of a shit show. To be honest, I have 3 kids,
Literally.
7, 5, and 2.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unpredictability. I used to, even when I had 2 kids, I was up at 5:30. I was C-suite at Canada's largest fintech. And I was working on my own business on the side. So I used to work from 5:30 till 7 when my kids woke up on the business. And then I did the kid thing, got out the door, did my day job, and had it down to this nice schedule. With 3 kids, you're outnumbered. It's a total shit show. But I wake up every day at 6:30 just before the kids, kind of get myself awake and kind of do the lunches, do the routine. And then everybody's out the door by 8 a.m. and that's when I do my kind of fitness. So I have a pretty strict workout schedule and went through my own kind of transformation, lost 35 pounds, gained a ton of muscle.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. So after having 3 kids, I decided it was time to buckle down and get serious. And so I weight train 4 days a week, cardio 5 days, and and I still can't stay healthy. The kids, I'm perpetually sick, but so and then I kind of get to work by 9 a.m. So I work out for about an hour, depending on the day, 45 minutes to an hour and 15, and then hit the grind, and then do this same thing at night. I sometimes will add on extra cardio or a yoga routine or something when the kids go to bed around 8 p.m. And depending on what the workload is, and then I try to get in bed for 10:30 so that you have the energy to do it. Because the morning routine is nothing if you don't have the night routine down.
Oh, I like you. I'm going to throw to the team in a quick second, but I want to invite you to reconsider a word in your vocabulary. May I?
Let's hear it. I love the feedback.
Yeah, I'd invite you to replace the word grind with grateful and gratitude, because I know you are grateful to have the opportunity to lift weights.
Oh, I love it.
Right? So that's the attitude we want, because we know there's people that are unable to do that. And I know I'm extremely gratitude to have the opportunity to go do what I do in the gym, and I know you do as well.
Honestly, the grind, I love the grind. I have a lot of pleasure. I don't think it's a bad word. I think I think we've gotten away. Everything has to be soft, and we have to be more. Listen, I'm all for gratitude and appreciating, but I'm also for just embracing that without the uncomfortable things, you don't appreciate the soft and comfortable things. So I don't see it as a negative thing to hustle and to grind. I think it shows discipline, and discipline will always trump motivation.
Without sour, there is no sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, here we go. Yeah. There we go.
I had to think about that.
There you go. I just wanted to say to Larissa that was you mentioned how you prepared the night before to have the day, a great successful day, because 10:30 to 8:30, if I'm not mistaken, what's that? 8 hours of sleep?
Yeah.
No, 10:30, 6:30, but yeah.
10:30 to 6:30, 8 hours of sleep, right?
Well,
yeah,
I mean, with a couple interruptions.
Okay, well, give or take, but that's a big part of your day. We talk about that a lot on the show, so I just want to give you your credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Larissa, what's so thank you for sharing your story with us. Somewhere in your journey, the light went on. You got up one morning, you either looked in the mirror, you looked at your partner, you looked at the kids, or you looked inside and you're like, pardon my language, holy fuck. I feel shitty. I'll use the word, I feel fat. I don't feel good about myself. I'm mentally not happy. We all do. Whether you're female, male, we all go through it. Fuck, Johnny and I talk about it all the time, body image issues. I stare in the mirror and I fight the fat guy off from years ago. Johnny and I talk about it all the time. But Larissa, what caused the light to go on for you? Because something you're saying right now might spawn somebody listening to go, oh yeah, okay, I got to do something about it. Larissa.
Yeah, for sure. I remember the day my youngest son was 9 months old. I started my company 4 months before he was born. So I never took a maternity leave. I never took a beat. I literally I gave birth with COVID at home. He was shipped off to the NICU because he had COVID. Dude. And I took a call with our developers in Brazil 6 hours later from my bed and just kind of kept going. Wow. He was born. You guys might not appreciate this, but if you have partners, you will. But he was 10 and a half pounds when he was born, which
that's a big boy.
Could be a bit brutal on a birthing parent's body. So
I was one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know, Johnny.
Are we surprised?
Yeah, we're well aware, Johnny.
Everybody knows one. Yeah. So he's a big dude. 10 and a half pounds when he was born. I mean, I'm 5'10", but still, he was 10 and a half pounds. And he just grew to be a tank at 9 months old. I've been running myself into the ground the whole 9 months between the company and him. And he was at 9 months, he was 30 pounds. And we have
9 months, he was 30 pounds.
Yeah.
What? That must not even be on the right. They got the percentage scale. That must have been off the percentage scale.
Yeah, I know. He's like tracking towards like NFL player for sure. But we're hoping for NBA. But I feel like he's showing signs of the tankness of NFL.
Goodness.
But I remember carrying him up the stairs in my house, and I was out of breath. And to your point, Keith, about what was that turning point, and I just said, holy shit, I'm too young for this. And if I can't carry 30 pounds up a flight of stairs, like something has to change. I got two
and
other
30 was gonna turn to 40 in about 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God he kind of plateaued for a little while. But you just kind of look at it, and unfortunately, it wasn't a motivation for myself. It was for my kids, my family, and sitting around and saying, shit, like I'm not even 40 and I can't carry 30 pounds and I've got these two other kids I need to run around after and I'm out of breath and I feel like shit. And I always knew that I had an extra, for my height and size and stuff, I knew I was 20, 25 pounds that needed to go. Yeah. And for me, it was a mental shift, right? I heard you guys talking about Goggins, which I'm a big fan of. Big fan of him. His book was super transformative to me. And, I think it's all a mindset thing. It's less about the actual 100%. Physical piece. But for me, it was less about losing the weight this time. And it was about, I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be strong for my kids. I have 2 girls and a boy. My wife and I talk a lot about positive influence. And so it was like, I wanted my girls to see I'm working out for myself. It's not selfish. I'm taking care of myself so I can take care of you. And, I'm putting out positive things to the world, and taking care of yourself isn't selfish, but that's not the message that's out there, especially for a lot of women. And it was a definite mind shift that I wanted to get strong and I wanted to be a good influence.
Oh, baby. I'm a huge fan of Larissa Holmes so far. We got to see Marty Fittip coming up here, and then we're going to come back and keep getting to know Larissa. I want to know where she works, what she does. Rich, you got a question for her right now, brother?
I don't. I don't.
You're awesome.
But you're amazing. I love it.
I know.
I don't know about that.
We're going to throw Marty on stage for the fit tip. We're going to come back. We're going to ask Larissa this. What do you do? Why do you got to show up A game? And then we're going to lean into the David Goggins discussion and weave it back to what Larissa's doing. But before we do that, Johnny's going to go for a break. Rich is going to go for a break. Larissa's going to wonder what the hell's going on. I'm going to clean my glasses, and Marty's going to get up there and tell us what to get doing. Marty, you're up, brother.
Let's get it. All right, we got the fitness tip for the day. All right, pretty much. You know, a lot of people use the excuse of not having time to not get their workout in. So if you don't have time, it's not a problem. And we're not going to make excuses because we understand life gets busy. But the answer isn't to skip a workout, right? So you got a couple options. Option number one, you could go all in, 45-minute full workout whenever your schedule allows. So you're going to limit the break time. You're going to increase the intensity, but at least you get it in. And now you don't have to make an excuse saying that you don't have time. This might be before work, after work, lunch break, find 45 minutes, get the work in. Option number two, right? You can do a 20-minute session, a HIIT focus session. So you're going balls to the wall, high intensity, whatever that is, burpees, sprints, Peloton ride. You can get on a bike. You can go hard on the elliptical, whatever it is, you're doing a HIIT-focused workout. And then option number three, you can do 5 minutes of movement in between, you know, different areas of your day. So after a meeting, let me knock out 50 push-ups. Let me knock out 50 bodyweight squats. Let me do some sit-ups. Let me do some burpees. Let me do some jumping jacks, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, excuses are not going to build results. You got to find a way to stay consistent even with the busy schedule. So show up in whatever way you can because something is always better than nothing. Remember that. That's the fitness tip for today.
Marty. Christopher Martin, see Marty Fit Tip every day at 8:30 Eastern time. Coming and drop some physical fitness advice for you guys. We're hanging out with Larissa Holmes. Marty, I'm considering offering the GOAT button to Larissa, but we got to spend some more time with her. I'm thinking because
not yet. She got to earn it. She got to earn it.
All right. So
you're doing a great job so far, Larissa, but
I'm
not
ready
yet.
to earn it.
Yeah. Cool. So I got to tell you, Larissa, Marty keeps me honest. I was handing him out pretty freely in the early days. He's like, Bilous, what the hell are you doing, man? And
he gave everybody the GOAT. I'm like, it's not special anymore.
That is not special. Yeah.
Hey, Marty, apparently Larissa is best friends with Christina, so I don't know who we have to hold to this. I don't know if we want to like Christina more or like Larissa more, but apparently there's some connection happening with these two here. So I
like Larissa more than Christina.
I
like Christina a lot. So right now, Christina, you got some work to do, Coach Flynn. Come on, Coach Flynn.
Hey, Marty, can we trade people on this show? Marty, we're a sports show.
Yeah, let's take Tina off. Let's get Larissa on.
We'll exactly. All right, we're hanging out with Larissa, Keith, John, Marty, and Richie Rich, who's lost in his studio trying to find his way back to the screen here. We're hanging out talking David Goggins. We're talking extreme athletes getting their ass out of bed, get moving in the morning. Larissa, let's continue the conversation. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do for a living? Why do you have to show up with your A game every single day? Convince Johnny why you're a GOAT.
Well, so I mean, it starts back. I was a management consultant at Deloitte for quite a while, which is where I did a lot of M&A work. I worked in financial services across Canada and the U.S. So big banks, all in New York and in Toronto, insurance companies. I did a lot of M&A transactions, and then I decided I wanted to move into tech. I got bitten by the bug. I started to hear about what was happening in tech. This back in 2014, 2015. But I was traveling a ton. I was a road warrior at the big four firms. You know, you kind of fly out Sunday night, Monday morning. I was back Thursday night. And it was fine and dandy. But I mean, I couldn't even network. I couldn't meet anybody. I couldn't do anything. So I decided to quit with no job, nothing in the pipeline. Wow. And the firm didn't take it well. They refused to accept the resignation. So tried a couple more times and finally was successful in quitting.
Is that even possible? Is that even possible?
Yeah, it is.
How does that work? I mean, you say I want to leave, and they say no.
they're just like, he's like, no. He's like, it was a Friday the first time I did it. So he said, no, come talk to me on Tuesday, see how you feel. They offered a bunch of different things to me to try to, incentivize to stay. And then I came back on Monday instead of Tuesday. He said, no, we said Tuesday, I want you to give it some more thought. Here's another option. Big Four firms also really love to place you at their clients, right? So because I wanted to move into tech at the time, back in 2014, the Big Four firms weren't doing a lot of business in tech because early stage tech companies don't have the money to pay the bills of a Big Four consulting firm. So they wanted to place me, at banks and at a place that was were my clients, but I was not interested in that. I knew exactly kind of where I wanted to go. I just needed time to get there. So once I did resign, I just networked like crazy and got a job at an early stage SaaS company based in Toronto, which was what I wanted. I wanted to be in the same city. My wife and I were thinking about having a family, which for me, I needed to be at appointments and doing stuff. So I needed to physically be in the city. And I worked at an early stage tech company. It was great. Did it for a year. And then I met one of the co-founders of a large, well, at the time it was really early stage consumer fintech. We sat on a panel together. And she just said, I think we need you. And I ended up being one of the first executives that they had hired and scaled them from about 18 people to 250. They were pre-revenue. By the time I left after 5 years, tens of millions. We raised 70 million in VC funding. I led the first acquisition we did, both, on the integration side. The board appointed me head of integration for that transaction.
Yeah.
And then I kind of woke up and said, I really want to do this for myself. I'd been at, a couple tech companies by then and said, I think I can do this and I want to give it a go for myself. So left that job. And the CEO and founder of that company, he was one of the first checks into my own venture, which was a sports tech platform to help connect women through sport. And then we spun out a B2B product and got a partnership with the LPGA. So we focused on golf and pickleball as the first two sports. And we were focused on American women age 40 plus. And then I just recently, I exited that business. And so now I'm, thinking about what's next and looking at what the next venture will be come 2025.
Wow, what a great story! Good for you, Larissa.
Yeah. That's an amazing story. I love how you basically just kept moving through what you wanted to do. I'm sure all those steps were, but I'm sure that voice in your head had all sorts of things to tell you when you're ready to leave some really solid position. But you said, you said, fuck that shit. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And look what you did. That's right there. It needs to be the lesson for people. When that voice is going to tell you to do what's comfortable, get uncomfortable, and you're going to find a promised land.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I mean, it's a pretty, we didn't, we don't have time to get into it, but it's a pretty unorthodox path for somebody like me. I have an undergrad in art history and a master's in museum management. So to say, let me tell you, there was not many people like me at Deloitte. Let's just say that. And similarly, other founders, have commerce degrees, typical business degrees and things like that. I've definitely taken a very different path and just kind of, I've really believed in the power of network, and I'm naturally a super curious person, and I'm not afraid to ask the questions and put myself out there and say, fuck it. Nobody else knows what they're doing either. So all this bullshit of people posturing and pretending like they have it all figured out, I'm like, I call bullshit, and I deserve to be here just as much as you do.
Yeah. So listen, it's clear that you have this stay hard mentality, this stay hard attitude, this attitude to never give up. You want to do your own thing. It's like, I got to.
What would give you that impression, Keith?
Well, it's like I got my own path. I'm going on my way, and I don't give a fuck what anybody else you're saying. It was very much like a David Goggins type mentality, right? And we're here talking about the David Goggins mentality. And you said yourself, you lean into that. But let's talk about this in the next 5 or 6 minutes or so. Some people argue, and Richie, I'm throwing this to you to start up, brother. Some people argue that the David Goggins tough love style is outdated. It's like, fuck, I don't know. Do we need this hard bullshit? Like, maybe it's time for some softer, more balanced approach. I know I got to hit the end goal, but maybe a softer approach combined with the Goggins attitude is what society needs to move towards. Listen, the benefits are clear, Richie. Focus, resilience, pushing limits. But what are the downsides of a softer approach? So, Richie, where do you come from a military side, a guy who's accomplishing kick-ass things every single day, children aside? Do humans need the Goggins approach, or is it time for a softer Goggins approach? Richie.
So one, I think a lot of this is semantics. I think everybody's looking for a new approach so they can build their platform to reach new people. They're saying the same fucking thing that everybody else is. They're just saying it in a different way. And it really fucking pisses me off, and you hit a nerve, Keith, because at the end of the day, it's all about how do I improve performance. And so whether you want to take the Goggins approach and look at it that way, or you want to improve performance by whatever, it's all about your work ethic and whatever it is you're following and your discipline in that path. So you're doing the same fucking thing. It's the same pain that you're receiving. You're just perceiving it differently. That's my take.
I love that. Larissa, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm of two minds, to be honest. I think the pendulum has swung a little far on the soft side. I think we've gone very gentle parenting, all these things. I think we've gone a little soft. But I agree that we need to, everyone, it's like everything in life. There's not one perfect diet. Like, this idea that there's one silver bullet for everybody is such a piece of shit. Like, it's just done so many people a disservice. Everyone needs to figure out what works for them and then just get it done. I don't care what it is. Just do something and try to be the best at it, whatever it is. It's like taking it back to the basics. It's what I tell my kids. I don't care what you do, as long as you strive to be the best. And as long as you're constantly pushing yourself, you're challenging yourself, and you're not just staying comfortable and fine with mediocrity. That is what I care about. And I think how you get there, everyone's going to be different. That's what makes the world great, is that we're all different. But, the Goggins mentality might work for somebody. And, for me, I kind of love the mundane, and I love when things are hard and kind of pushing myself and the repeatability. That's not going to work for everybody. And, Christina and I talk about this a lot. We're good friends, and she tends to be of the softer, and I'm like, grind it out and like commit to something. And I'm like texting her, did you do this? You said you were going to do it by a certain date and time, or, you're 2 minutes past the time you told me you were going to send me something. And she's like, stop riding me. And I'm like, this is it. Like, what works for one person is not going to work for everyone.
Yeah. Diamonds are created under pressure. And what you got, the thing that's missed in this whole thing is that in today's society, the snowflakes, they can't handle pressure very long. So I think what it comes down to is we all know this is a fact, that diamonds are created under pressure. What amount of pressure can you withstand every day and do it every day? The consistent part of this is what's missed. We know we got to do difficult shit, but pick something you can do every day and fucking show up.
Marty, I see you leaning in as well, brother.
Yeah, I'm with Larissa, man. I think the pendulum has swung too far. I do think now maybe the Goggins approach is a little too extreme, but we do need more of a blunt and honest approach. I mean, look at fitness. We got trainers. They're saying trainers don't have to be in shape now. It's just about their knowledge. I mean, it's ridiculous. You got financial advisors. They don't have their ish together, and they're giving out financial advice. It's getting ridiculous out here. So
and that's so it, brother. You're so on the money.
Yeah. Yep. Those are good examples. I totally agree. It's like you have, leadership coaches who have never actually led a company.
Yes.
And absolutely. Are you going to go to a marriage counselor when they've never been married? To me, it's just insane.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, choose your level of pressure and do it with some consistency so that you can prove the fact that you can handle staying in the game, and now you got something. But I mean, we have to understand that pressure is like the foundation of this whole thing. Pressure is what creates the diamond. Pressure is what creates the character. Pressure was what creates the forward momentum.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I think I was misunderstanding where we're coming from when we're talking about soft. So let me back up. Yes, if you're a fucking pussy, then yeah, you're not ever gonna fucking perform. If you can't show up and go through the uncomfortable things that it takes to transform and grow, then yeah, you don't deserve to be at the table. But if you're willing to put in the work, and so when I talk about, the way that I was talking about soft was, hey, let's sit down, let's look at each other as being kind, let's look at, because that's where I'm getting into, is that really, is that soft or is that just, so I hate a woke society, I will fucking say that, like, let's just.
Well, so Richie, I'm glad you brought that up, brother, because we're going to wrap the segment up with Larissa. We got AJ Zeiglin hanging out in the green room for the minefield coming up in a couple minutes. We're talking David Goggins, extreme discipline, extreme effort, hitting goals left and right, getting his ass out of bed and doing crazy shit. Here's my POV on this whole situation, and Marty, you know where I come from because we've been working together at this.
Keith, before you move on, I just have to call Rich on his pussy comment because pussies are hard and tough.
Oh.
That's right. Now
we're
getting back into semantics.
Maybe he's gonna. Maybe it's being a dick.
Yes.
But thank you for that job.
I love that. I love Larissa calling us out here on this one. So listen, here's my POV on this as well. I think society has gone a little far to the left as well. I think we've gone a little too far woke. And the whole premise with this show for me, and I know Marty, I'll speak for Marty. I know Marty comes from a place of kindness, as so does I. So does Johnny, so does Richie. So does Christina, frankly. But I also know that when it comes time to getting shit done, we get shit done. Yeah, I might have some feelings and some emotion around the way because I believe in feelings and emotion. But if I got to fucking go to the top of the mountain, I'm getting to the fucking top of the mountain. No ifs, ands, or fucking buts about it. And that's what I think is wrong. It's either you got to be one or the other. You got to be soft and kind. No, you can be soft and kind, but you can be a fucking hard ass too. My dad was a hard ass, a hard motherfucker. I did not want to be that. So I'm like, okay, so how can I be a hard ass and achieve my goals like Goggins, but still cry like Johnny? How can I tell Johnny I love him and Richie I love him, but still achieve my goals? By fucking showing up. And that's what the show's about. It's accountability, the hardest thing. The hardest thing. Ever since I've met Marty and Johnny, we've been here every single fucking morning. And I'm telling you, I look around the platforms and who's doing it like us? Nobody. So I'll leave it there. Wokeness is on its way out. A little bit of coming to the middle is on its way in, and that's what this show is all about. Larissa Holmes, where can Nation connect with you? I'm really thinking we got to trade Tina out to bring Larissa back. So,
no.
Christina's the goat. Let's bring that. Flinner's giving us a finger up here.
Yeah, Flynn.
she's the goat.
Yeah, Christina, you see, I was the one that did not jump on that bandwagon. Do you see that?
Hey, she's the one who got Larissa on the show here. So, Larissa, where can Business Athlete Nation find you? Where can they connect with you? And will you come back and hang out with us again?
I mean, sure. Why not? We'll see. See if Christina can get me back.
How can we find you, kid? How can we find you?
Best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn, Larissa K. Holmes. I'm super active there, so that's probably the best spot, and where I talk a lot about similar things. So I love what you guys are doing. Great job. I'm excited to keep following along. Thanks for having me.
Nice. So, hey, we got to ask you. I know that Christina said, hey, I'm on this morning show. Some dudes here. It's kind of fucking weird. It's kind of like you look at the book. You're like, what the hell's going on with these guys? You got some dude from Maryland. You got some guy from Texas. You got some guy from California. You got some guy from his basement in his parents' house in Winnipeg. And they're talking shit. They're kind. They're funny. They're doing this crazy shit. Holmes, like, are you leaving this experience still kind of wondering what the hell just happened?
No, I mean, I've been following along, obviously, since she joined. I have, been popping in and checking it out and seeing what you guys are up to. And I love following along the journey. I think there's a lot that resonates. And I think that there's a perception that this kind of traditional bro culture is exclusive to men. And I think there's a lot of women like me who definitely resonate with it and want to stay tough and stay hard and keep pushing and are out to achieve big things. I think that's what everybody's here for, right? Is that you're just in it to be your best. And I love the accountability side of it, Keith, but it's also to get the message out and share what you guys are up to and not settle.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the Bro Show, Non-Bro Show with Keith, Richie, Marty, and Johnny, and our good friend Christina Flynn over there in the back. And, of course, producer Jimmy. Larissa, thanks for hanging out with us today. You have yourself an awesome day.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larissa.
All right, we got Johnny up here. We got AJ coming in next with Minefield. We're going to keep talking Goggins and mental resilience and how to get through tough shit using your mind. Johnny, you're up, brother.
Let's go. The voice inside of our heads in most cases is not our friend. That little voice will tell us all of the things that we don't want to hear when we're trying to move forward. It will find all sorts of things for us to stress out about. Well, here's the interesting part. Only about 25% of the things that we stress out about actually come to reality. So try this. Take a piece of paper, put a line down the middle. On the left side, write all the things you're stressing out about. On the right side, write all the things that actually came to reality that actually didn't just exist in your mind. And you're going to realize that most of the things we stress out about only happen in our heads, which means that little voice is literally, it's robbing us of our potential. So when you think about this, when you're stressing out, recognize very quickly, once you do this drill, that, hey, is this really going to happen? Is this really going to turn to reality? Because 75% of the time, it's not going to happen. What does that mean? That means that we are the biggest roadblock for ourselves. It's that voice inside our head that convinces us not to do what we should be doing when we want to reach that goal. So try this out. You're going to be blown away how effective it is for you to gain a stronger position on that little goddamn voice inside our heads that tells us we should hit the snooze, that tells us we should go back to bed, that tells us not to take that big step towards the goal we've always wanted to do. That being said, go get it. Rock and roll.
Yes. Great advice daily from John Anderson. Telling you, man. Johnny, you were in my head yesterday, brother. I was crushing some salmon for dinner, and I'm not the biggest fan of salmon. I've had too much of it in my lifetime, and I was like, nah. But you know what, pal? I said to myself, fuck, sometimes you got to do the shit that nobody else wants to do. I got to keep eating my salmon. So I just fucking ate my salmon, brother. I saw your face on
there we go.
I saw your face on that loaf there. I was like, okay, I guess Uncle Johnny's saying better eat the fucking salmon. So I did.
Atta baby. Atta baby. You know, think about it. Eating the salmon is a pretty goddamn easy task. You know, I'm betting that somebody might have even prepared that for you.
Lauren made me awesome salmon. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great this morning.
When someone prepares you healthy food, it's prepared with love, which means it's even more healthy. So eat that shit and shut up, everyone.
We're here. AJ?
I'll say Lauren does make good salmon.
Yes.
I can agree with that.
AJ?
Why is that so funny, Keith? Why is that so funny?
Because you're just telling, it's just straight truth, man. It just, every time I talk to you, it is straight motherfucking truth. Boom.
You know, because when it comes down to if somebody prepares food for you, eat that shit. That's where I was raised. If you're not going to eat what's prepared, then you'll be hungry. And guess what? Kids get hungry pretty fucking quick, and they eat what's prepared for them. And now all of a sudden they're not eating fucking Captain Crunch, or they're not eating all this fucking bullshit that they shouldn't be eating. Prepare them good food, and when they get hungry, they will eat.
Speaking of Captain Crunch, we're here with our good friend, the captain himself, AJ Zeiglin, our mind fuel expert, and we're talking about keeping momentum and, you know, this extreme discipline that Goggins has, habit building and so forth. And AJ, let's jump right into it. Let's break down how someone like Goggins or someone listening right now can build their own momentum through habit stacking. And I know you're coming here saying, but Keith, I'm repeating myself over and over. Yeah. But often people, remember that conversation you and I had in the gym when I was training for Kilimanjaro, and I said, AJ, it's just sometimes something just needs to click in our head, and it takes some time. It just takes a repetitive message over and over for something to kind of click. Right. So AJ, what's one practical way somebody listening right now can say, oh, fuck, Zeiglin said something. I got to start habit stacking right now so I can start building success like Goggins does. AJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing that we got to do is start, right? We've said it a lot on here, right? It is the action a lot of times going to precede the motivation, right? So if you're looking to be motivated to go and do something, it doesn't just magically appear out of nowhere. We create our own motivation. So when you don't feel like doing it, get off your butt, get on your feet and start. And just start. Whatever it is, 1 step, 2 steps, whatever it is. And then, you talked about that momentum going. Well, that initial effort to overcome that inertia of sitting still, right? That's the biggest energy expenditure in that whole equation. And once we're moving forward, we've created our own momentum. And then The motivation will come after we've executed action.
Yeah.
And I was going to add that, you saying that, AJ, just made me think of something like one of my old coaches used to say. He would say, like, there's no staying the same. You're either getting better or getting worse, right? So I use that in fitness, either getting fitter or you getting fatter.
Yeah.
Right? Or so you're either building confidence or you're building insecurity. That's just my perspective on it. So the best thing to do is start now, because you're going to go in the total opposite direction if you don't.
But AJ, sometimes people have a hard time. So I say it all the time. Richie says that, Johnny, just get started. People don't.
Well, but here's my little take on that.
Yeah.
It's just pretty much what AJ's saying. It's just the way I phrase it. Just get up and start walking. Maybe you don't even know what you're going to do. Just start walking, because that movement is going to help you find it'll help you find your groove. Movement creates momentum, which creates motivation. Just start moving. Get off your butt, just like AJ said.
Yeah.
The first step's always the hardest step.
Yeah. AJ, we talk often about accountability on this show, and you and I have talked about it many times over the years. It's where it all ties together. Everybody and their dog, is selling a system. Keith, Marty, and Johnny create this show called Mornings in the Lab, and we invite Richie to hang out with us and Flynn to hang out with us, and we have this big show here around accountability. Show up every single morning. Richie's getting up in the middle of the night every single morning. How do you recommend someone establish a weekly check-in system to keep themselves on track? It's not as simple as just writing it down, AJ.
No, I mean, well, everyone's going to be different, right? Everyone's going to be their own individual case, and everyone's going to find that different things work for them. Obviously, when we first start, having accountability to other people can be extremely helpful, whether we find a group that we're going to in the gym, whether we find a coach that we check in with, whether we have a friend or a colleague that's decided to undertake a similar task, and it's helpful for their support each other, whether we have a partner at home, whatever it is, some external accountability can be helpful. Ultimately, the goal at the end of the day too is to improve the relationship that you have with yourself.
Yes,
so you become accountable to yourself, right? And once you have that, and you realize that, hey, I'm someone that I'm responsible for taking care of, and I have to be accountable to myself for my own actions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the that's kind of the sweet spot, right? Because now you're I would never want to discourage anyone from having that external accountability, though. I feel like those relationships are powerful and meaningful, and they're great. But you also have a relationship with yourself, right?
Well, AJ, talk about when you're accountable to yourself. Other people are going to have a much more of a greater tendency to be accountable to you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. You're teaching people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Right.
Yes.
This is good, AJ. So I'm inclined to come and sit down in front of you, and you're saying, but Keith, you got to find a way to be accountable with yourself. Like, what are you asking questions like, what don't you like about yourself, or why are you struggling to find accountability within yourself? Because I got to think, AJ, if Richie or Marty can't look in the mirror and I've gone through my own journey where I was, doing things to myself which weren't healthy, which weren't positive, beating myself up. I had to have some moments to finally take some self accountability. How can somebody do that, AJ?
Yeah, well, it's a process, right? And so first thing you did, is I saw you in the gym every single morning.
Yeah.
Right? There was your action, right? Didn't matter where you were at or what was going on and what poor decisions you felt were making, or maybe you felt you had some negative coping skills, some positive ones. Yeah. You were at the gym every single morning, right?
Negative coping skills. Interesting. Sorry to interrupt there, but that's a common thing for humans, isn't it? Which prevents us from being accountable, AJ.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all coping skills, at least they come from the same place, which is extremely important for us to recognize, right? So you don't want to beat yourself up too much about it, right? You employ a coping skill because you, on some level, realize that something's wrong and something has to change. Yes. Right. So whether I'm doing something negative or positive for myself, I've identified in some manner that, hey, what I'm doing now, I cannot keep doing, so I'm trying to help myself. I'm trying to protect myself. Maybe I make a poor choice and that coping skill doesn't seem to be positive, but at least I've identified that I'm not in a good place and something has to change. So it might not feel like it in that moment, but there's a little win in there. There's some self-awareness in there that you have to do something differently, right? Now, obviously negative coping mechanisms or skills, if we don't identify them and try to help people find more positive ones, they can be damaging over a long period of time. But sometimes people really beat themselves up about the idea of I'm handling something in a negative manner. And it's like, yeah, we can handle it better, but you have identified that you are not doing well and you have to do something to change. You have that awareness, right? And you're putting in your energy to do something to try to help yourself. We just got to direct it in a more positive direction.
So it's like you said that, we got Christina Flynn coming up here in 2 minutes, Jimmy, for the brand bite. But what you said, AJ, really is the fact that myself or Richie or Johnny or Marty, we've discovered that awareness is the first step. And then So what you're saying is somewhere in our journey, we're then going to make the decision towards perhaps some positive decisions or beating ourselves up with negative decisions is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, and that realization can definitely come with some help, right?
Yes.
Like you said, you surround yourself with a good group of people, or you have a good friend or a colleague, or you get yourself a coach or someone like that kind of help direct that energy into a positive way. Obviously, can be really, really beneficial. So you're not, spending a lot of this time identifying that I got to change something and putting all this energy into something that is negative. But in that short term, like I said, you've identified something's wrong. You're trying to do something to make yourself feel better. No one employs a coping mechanism to purposely try to make themselves feel worse.
Yes.
Right? Everyone uses a coping mechanism to try to make yourself feel better. So that's what you're trying to do. Something's wrong. You're trying to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. We're hanging out with AJ Zeiglin, Minefield. Marty, question, brother?
Real quick, Johnny, what's the saying? The pain of staying the same has to hurt more than the pain of growth. There's
so many ways to say it, but I mean, ultimately, when reality becomes more uncomfortable than the uncomfortableness of change. I'm really fucking this up, but yeah, basically, once change is less uncomfortable than your reality, you'll make a change. Because it's people just let their realities get so uncomfortable that finally, like, you know what? This change is less uncomfortable than this fucked up reality I've allowed myself to live in. And boom, Absolutely. They make a change.
Yep.
Hey, I will throw in Keith too, real quick, just because I was loving the conversation that you guys were having before we came on. And I think you summed it up perfectly at the end there, where you said, like, two things can be true at the same time, right? And I would challenge anyone to think that just because you show any level of emotion or just because you pay special attention to your own mental health or how you treat other people, that you can't be tough, that you can't work hard, that you can't have a crazy work ethic, that you can't be successful. We often like to separate things, especially in the age of social media, where everything becomes very divisive, and it's like one extreme or the other, and I would challenge people to be like, yeah, some of the toughest people I know can also be some of the most sensitive people I know. Yeah. Right.
Well said.
Why can you not be both? Someone give me one good reason why you can't be both. Right. And sometimes we just got to challenge that way of thinking. Right. And two things can be true at the same time. You can be absolutely the baddest man on the planet, and you can be a great partner and a great dad, and you can be a loving father and husband and all that stuff. Why not?
Well, I think that's what makes the baddest man on the planet, is to have it all. Being the baddest man on the planet in the gym or one area of your life, that's not the baddest. That's the person that's got one element of the baddest. Stack them all together. Now you're a bad motherfucker.
Oh, I love it. Well said, AJ. Well said here, my friend. Listen, AJ Zeiglin joins us every single Tuesday and Thursday for Mind Fuel, a segment to help us put our mind in the right space. Here's my philosophy. If you want to succeed in the gym, you want to succeed in life, it all starts here. It goes here, it goes here, it goes here. We were all taught it starts here, but just like AJ said, man, you got to go here, and then you got to go here, and then you get here. That's just how it all works, nation. AJ, final word to you, brother. What you got big plan for the weekend? I know it's Thanksgiving weekend in the States here, and you guys are traveling coming up next week, pal.
Yeah, I will actually be celebrating Thanksgiving with our American neighbors this year. So I'm off to the States this Tuesday.
Well, it's the 28th. It's not this weekend, Keith. It's
next weekend.
It's next end of next week.
Yeah, and next week.
Yeah, next Thursday. So yeah, I'm just getting ready this weekend. I have a couple presentations and groups that I'm working with over the weekend, and then I'm packing and on a plane early next week and spending all next week in LA.
Nice,
yes, sir.
Baby.
Yes, sir.
Yes, baby. All right. AJ's with us every Tuesday and Thursday. You can connect with AJ on LinkedIn. You can find him on Instagram, AJ Zeiglin, the Mindfield mental performance expert. Mr. Zeiglin, thanks for hanging out with us, brother. We'll talk to you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love being
here. All right, AJ.
Thank you as always, AJ. Good shit, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got Flynn coming up, and guys, she's got a big one, man. Flynn's got advice that starts something like this. Just posting.
See y'all Monday. I'm out of here too.
See you, Marty.
See ya.
Bye, Marty.
What day is it? Is it Friday? What day is it? It's not Friday, is it?
I don't know what day it is.
Johnny, go for a leak, man. Just go.
Well, he said see you next. He said have a good weekend. That means generally speaking, that would mean it would be Friday, correct?
Marty's not around tomorrow. Marty's got
okay.
Rich has got to rock and roll. Richie's back tomorrow. Richie, thanks for hanging out, brother. You go get after it today.
All right. Yeah. Heading out.
Awesome, pal.
Later,
take care, brother. All right.
All right. Later, y'all.
Johnny's going for a leak. Rich is out of here. Marty's out of here. I'm hanging out. Christina's coming up. We're coming back with Reloaded. Christina, you're up. Get up there.
Get the fuck off my stage. I have a lozenge in my mouth because I'm hacking up along over here, folks, but I'm still here. That's the point, right? So just start posting is bullshit advice for beginners. How many times have you heard when you're building a public brand, a personal brand online, just start posting, And the advice seems easy enough. But if we could just be real for 1 second, if you're part of an underrepresented or a marginalized group, if you're Black, brown, indigenous, neurodiverse, a woman, LGBTQ, or otherwise, just start isn't that simple. Just start posting isn't that simple. Because when you've spent your lifetime being told you have to work harder than everyone else, you have to be the best at what you do, you have to do it quietly and do not boast, the stakes feel higher, the risks feel bigger. And the thought of posting imperfectly can feel like losing everything that you've worked for. So here's what I want you to do instead. If you haven't started yet, that's okay. You're not weird. You're not behind. Instead of just posting, start by following people that you admire, engaging with their content, studying profiles that you love. And as you do, ask yourself, how are you similar? How are you different? What makes your perspective unique? So just start. So don't just start posting if you're just getting started, but you can still start writing, start creating, start reflecting, even if nobody ever sees it for now, because every step brings you that much closer to showing up in the way that you want to, understanding what your voice is, and eventually just start posting. Yes, it really is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand bite into account, you will be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
Here we go. Christina Flynn, the brand bites. 9 o'clock Eastern time. Personal brand advice. Yes, there we go. Okay, let's do this. Boom! Okay, listen, nation. Mornings in Love with Keith and friends here. Morning Loop Reloaded, the second hour of the show. I seem to have a bunch of music going on here in my ears. Listen, we are exploring the morning routine of Goggins, David Goggins. Intense, painful mornings. But listen, we're going to ask the question later on here. Is that level of discipline realistic for everyone? We're going to break it down in a few moments. Good morning, Cosmic Vision. I see you. Good morning, Good Time. Good morning, Dugan. We're going to talk about what Goggins does. How does he do it? How can we adapt that approach in our own life and so forth? But let's quickly do a little screen capture over here. How are you, Johnny? How are you, Christina? You guys good?
Good. Absolutely, baby. And Christina, you saw I was the one not on the bandwagon of your replacement with your friend.
I know. These fuckers are stupid. I control this stuff. I'm the puppeteer. So the fact that they don't think about that, they're lacking intentionality here, John.
That's it. We're lacking intentionality here is right.
Well, because I'll tell you, if I was going to be on that bandwagon, you would be right here, not in the backstage.
That's it. So before we head into, I want to get into the Goggins conversation in about 5 minutes or so. But before we do that, I thought I would throw a quick topic on the table for me and Johnny to dissect. We both passionately love our wives. I know Christina loves her wife, and clearly Larissa loves hers as well. I got something on here that Christina, we're gonna work it in for you as well. 7 behaviors of men who truly love and respect women.
Let's do it.
Because you know why I want to bring this up? Because there's conversations happening all over the place, especially with what's happened in the political world about, well, we know. So I just want to make sure that everybody who listens to our show knows where we stand with how we like to treat our lovely partners, and Johnny, how we might want to love and respect the women in our life. And number one is, Johnny, talk about actions, man. I know you know how to listen to Terry.
And that's something that took a fucking while for me to get down, and I'm still learning. It's a process. There's no question. It never stops.
Yeah. Talk about that for a second, brother. When and how did the light go on for you going, fuck, I better listen to my wife?
It's a great question. I don't know that the light ever really just went on. It was like a dimmer switch, It just kept getting brighter and brighter. And I think then when it came down to is I think I realized that in certain situations, I really needed to understand, okay, hey, this is definitely not about me, definitely not about us. It's about her, and we're actually kind of going through some of that right now. She had, her best friend's daughter passed, which really hit home because, basically it was just everybody was so close. And so she's still kind of struggling through that, and she's telling me, she's like, hey, I'm still not at my best. I'm still struggling with this. And so I'm doing the best that I can to support her. And I know that she's having her struggles. So I just kind of let her do what she's doing. I'm trying to be supportive, but like yesterday, perfect example, she said, look, I know you're trying to be helpful, but the way that some of the phrases the way that you're phrasing this is making me feel like I need to step back when I'm really trying to just be a help and trying to be supportive. So like this morning, my message to her, I was text my ladies every morning. My message this morning was, hey, I'm here and I want to be here at a better capacity. So please continue to tell me what I'm doing that is not allowing you to heal at the fastest rate. And so it's the key of, sometimes you're not going to hear much. They're not going to say much, but you have to really be in the moment and be present with what someone is saying in order to truly respond in a way that's going to be helpful to them, not to you.
Well, Christina, this is powerful right now, frankly, because, Johnny's living it, right? And we're talking right now, 7 behaviors of men, let's say partners who truly respect and love the other one. But right now we're talking 7 behaviors of men who truly love and respect women. And, one of the examples that's thrown up here is when our partner's upset or frustrated, let's just not quickly provide solutions, right, Christina? Let's listen. Let's deeply acknowledge what's going on and saying something like, I hear you. John, you're saying it to Terry. I hear you.
Well, and the crazy thing was what she said yesterday. She said, historically, when I'm in a position like this, you create space, you create distance to protect yourself, which was completely true.
Yeah.
And so, part of my message again this morning there was, look, it's, every day I'm a little better. It's a new me, which means it's a new us. So, I'm here, and I'm not creating space. And so I need to let her know that. And when I say space, what that means is not space for her to breathe. It was like a protective mechanism for myself. It was really a selfish act.
Yeah.
And so I had to reinforce to her, look, I'm not stepping back, and I'm trying to be here as best I can. So please continue to talk to me and let me know, what I'm doing that may make you feel like I'm stepping back, because even though I'm trying to be supportive and step forward, it still appeared to her that I was going the other way. And so me understanding that's how she felt, that's going to be paramount for today.
Yeah. Christina, number 2 here. He honors boundaries. And it sounds like Johnny's talking about that right now, which is respecting a woman's boundaries, whether emotional, physical, or psychological, is a clear sign of love and maturity. Christina.
Yeah, I think this is challenging in that, like, we often think of this sentiment as more aggressive or assertive than it needs to be. It's not necessarily physical space. It's one, understanding what is their boundaries, what are their boundaries, and that's going to change. That
that's so correct. Not physical space we're talking about here. That's 100%, Christina. Sorry to interrupt, but that is so key.
And so understanding what that boundary is, being flexible enough to know that they can change that boundary if they want, and knowing that, like John said, it's not necessarily about you in that moment. It's about them. And you have to be okay with not being able to solve the problem.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly yesterday. What I kept basically saying was I kept checking in with her, but the way I was checking in made her feel like it was like there was something wrong. And that's I didn't want to do that. And I kept basically asking her how I could help her. But at the same time, it wasn't making sense to her. And that's what's important. So with a little bit of guidance from yesterday, I know I can do a better job today in this time of her need.
Yeah. Good morning, Zacy. I see you on the comments there. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the channel. I don't know where Flynn just went. Looks like we lost her. Number 3, and this one is an important one for me as well, Johnny, and I know it's for you as well, because you have 3 daughters plus a wife, 2 daughters and a wife. Supporting our partners, our wives, our girls' dreams and ambitions. And I bring this one up, Johnny, because it seems like there's a societal shift going on right now where it's like, let's face it, right? America struggled to vote for a female president. I don't really care. I have no judgment on it. But the reality is that there's still some men who struggle with supporting our girls' dreams and ambitions. And Johnny, one of the greatest things we can do for our wives or for our daughters or for our girls is to support their dreams and ambitions. Johnny Anderson.
Yeah, no, I think that's so key because, what we want is we want our loved ones to be happy. And, their path of life and what they want to do is what's going to make them happy. And just because it's not our choice doesn't mean it's not the right choice for them. And I think when it comes down to it, to as a parent, of course, you want your kid to be okay. And my thing with my girls is say, look, if you basically are working hard and you're doing what you're doing and you're working for something you want, then I'm always going to be just a lateral step beside you if you need me. I want you to pursue, but if you mail it in and you decide that you're just going to go, get a job and, not really pursue becoming the best version of you, then I won't be quite so close. So, because they don't need me to be close. If they're going to just go take the easy route and get some ultra secure job that doesn't really feed, that inspiration inside of them, doesn't feed their soul, there's not a lot of risk in that. So they don't need me by their side, but I've promoted them. Hey, push, do that thing that makes you uncomfortable, and I'm by your side. I want that for you.
Yeah. We're talking about true love, not conditional or situational. We're talking about the seven key behaviors for men who truly love and respect their woman, their partner. We're getting into our working on the back end of this list, and then we're going to get into the David Goggins approach and wrap up the show with that as we get to community corner as well. Consistent affection, not just when it's convenient. Flynn, true unconditional love, period.
And when you're in a moment where you're feeling emotional, when you're feeling not your best, when you're feeling grouchy, grumpy, whatever, it's easy to not necessarily feel that yourself, like not showing up and being unconditional, but it's easy to give the perception off that isn't the case. So like John said he wants his girls to pursue something that interests them, that lights them up. But if one of John's girls said to him, I actually really love the corporate world and I love what I'm doing and I'm passionate about it, and like, this is where I want to spend my time, John wouldn't be like, well, fuck you. Like, oh, that's ridiculous. You're not doing what I think you should do. You can't say one thing in one situation and then change that. That love is unconditional. And it's not always apparent to your partner, that that's the case. They need to feel safety. Physical safety is one thing. Emotional safety is another thing. They need to feel like no matter what, they can come to you. They can be honest. It may not be easy. It may be a difficult and hard conversation, but you're there and you're going to work through it together as a team, because that's what I've learned with my wife. She just wants to be a fucking team. She just wants to be a part of it all. And it's so easy for me to get myopic and like focused on what I'm doing. She's just like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I want to be here and support you, just like I want you to be here and support me. I just want to be a team.
Yeah. You know, I have a lot of that with Terry as well. You know, she's like, she's not trying to make decisions. She just wants to be a part of the movement.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up here. Move over to the David Goggins conversation that can work towards wrapping the show up. We've been talking about habits of men who truly love and respect their women, their partner. We know how to listen, guys. We know how to honor boundaries. We know how to support our partners, our wives, our girls' dreams and ambitions. And I cannot emphasize that one enough. Champion your lover, unconditionally love them, be consistent with affection. Johnny, taking responsibility for our actions when we fuck up or when we do something positive, but taking that responsibility. We want to talk about respecting our wives, our girls' independence, and then, of course, practicing patience and empathy are also key things. So, guys, as you're starting your day right now with your partner, maybe you're in a space, maybe you're not in a space, here's some tips to help you move forward with your relationship with your partner. John, Christina, closing comments now before we move to the Goggins conversation.
Man, I would say, you know, one of the things that really helped me in this whole thing was just learn to be accountable and say you're sorry when you make a mistake. You know, sometimes it feels like fucking acid in your goddamn mouth. But you know, what's important, you know, the taste of your mouth or the health of your relationship, because your partner recognized that, hey, that wasn't what he intended, and he's apologizing and he wants a redo.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's a good segue. Acid in the mouth. Let's talk about acid when you're working out and starting your day like a guy like David Goggins. And we started the show talking about the approach that Goggins has to achieve the goals that he wakes up looking for. And Christina, the guy wakes up at 5 a.m. I know, Flynn, we had that video running, but I was having some problems with it, so we're going to put that aside. We'll keep working on getting better with that. But listen, early wake up, 5 a.m. Goggins, you got to get up earlier, man. Johnny's getting up at 3. I'm getting up at 4. Goggins wakes up between 5 and 5:30 a.m. to prepare himself for the day, which he calls armoring up. So, Johnny, you have your mental attitude when you get up. Goggins gets up. He's like, I'm armoring up to go. Those military metaphors, right? He runs for 2 hours daily, a 12-mile run, taking around 1 hour to 2 hours of running. Breakfast, Johnny, bulletproof coffee, 2 fried eggs. About 470, 500 calories or so. He hits to the gym later, 1 hour, including strength, endurance, plus cycling 3 times a week. He's a big fan of stretching and meditation. And Johnny, I'm going to come to you with this one, especially from our guy yesterday. He meditates 2 hours a day. Johnny,
really?
Yeah, we sat down. While he's stretching. And remember, Marty, Johnny, we sat down yesterday with Marcus Newcomb, who meditates for 2 hours, I think, or an hour and a half, whatever it was, right?
It was somewhere between an hour, I want to say 3. It was massive. Massive, like monk type massive.
That's wild.
I would almost suggest to you, Johnny and Christina, that when I hear this point about Goggins going, I meditate for 2 to 2+ hours, and we talked to a guy like Marcus Newcomb yesterday, that truly is the power of the mind, John? Christina, like, it's just when you can get your mind as powerful as that, you probably can accomplish anything.
I mean, if you've ever tried to meditate for 3 minutes, you can realize and appreciate how hard it is to meditate for 3 hours.
Well, and keep in mind, it's not just sitting there letting your mind race in a bunch of dumb shit. It's actually having the ability to slow things down and see things more clearly. It's not just there's a difference between just sitting there. And, you know, a lot of people, I've tried it and it doesn't work. Well, fuck no shit, because you didn't try long enough to actually find the benefit. It's like, you know, you're not going to go to the gym for a few times and all of a sudden have your 6-pack. It takes it's a work in progress. So, go ahead,
Christina. There's a difference between the meditation as we know it and mindfulness practice. So when I first went to one of my psychiatrists, she talked about like, do you meditate? Are you into that yoga? And I was like, it's too slow. I can't. This was years ago. I do it now quite a bit. But I said, I just want to find a way to be able to get the benefits of that activity while still doing something. So fit it into my day. If you tell me to add it onto my day, it's not going to happen right now. And what she did was she gave me a number of exercises and routines that are mindfulness based practices. So it's not just sitting down, it's being present, it's being aware. So I could do it at the time on my commute and listening to the sounds that were around me, listening to the smells that are around me, doing a body scan from toes to the tip of your head of like, what are you feeling in that moment? What's going on? So it's not just black or white. You're meditating or you're not. Mindfulness, I found to be a really powerful way for me to understand those benefits without the overwhelm of how am I going to go from never sitting down to sitting down, being silent, not wanting to be with my brain. So it was a good balance and it was a good middle ground for me.
Yeah. And there's all different like you hear of walking meditation. It doesn't have to be sitting there doing nothing. There's so many different variances. Like I've actually have a pretty good, I don't do it often, but walking meditation for me is actually I'm fairly good at it, largely because my methodology to get in, so to speak, is counting. And when you're walking, you can count your footsteps. There's all sorts of shit you can count. And so just remember, there's a lot of ways to skin this cat.
Yeah.
As we wrap this segment up, Johnny, I know you are well versed within your habits. You're well versed within your structure. I think I know the answer to this because I think it came up yesterday with Marcus Newcomb. But if you had to pick one element of Goggins' morning routine, or even perhaps Marcus's routine, I got to think you're really intrigued by, and you're really wondering and curious about how you can sit down and meditate for 30, 40, 60 minutes. Am I correct, Johnny?
Yeah, there's a lot of power there. I mean, it's like untapped, and I'm getting deeper into it for sure. But keep in mind, for me at the same time, it's not just, I wouldn't be at my best if I just sat down and meditated right out of bed. That's one piece of my equation.
Yes.
Having, getting my heart rate up, getting a little blood flow, that right there, I'm actually far better at doing I call it sitting in silence. I'm better at sitting in silence once I've kind of got that first, I've changed my physiology, which means my brain has started to release chemicals that are getting the negative thoughts out of my head. Well, now that's a gateway for me to get in faster.
Yeah, I feel I'm of that same approach, Johnny. Once I get my physical self taken, my coffee, my emotional, mental, my physical, then I can function and then get to a point of meditating. Christina, what's one thing that you would take out of Goggins' approach and that you've heard today, or just stretching? Stretching.
I think that he is a great example. In his first book, he talked about the fact that at one point in time, he thought he was dying. He thought that he was dying because of the way that his body felt. And what he realized was really like he wasn't allowing his body, he wasn't stretching his muscles. He wasn't allowing his body to recover at all. And I think this is the Goggins approach, is like no stretching to 2 hours a day during meditation. That's very much like the extreme. Yes. But I think that if we're thinking about longevity, if we're thinking about health and wellness from a sustainability perspective, I think stretching, we've started to talk about it a little bit more, but it's so incredibly vital for all of us to be able to, one, continue to do this work, because if you fuck up a muscle and you pull something or you're doing whatever, you're not going to be able to continue to do the physical stuff. And it's just really fucking good for your body. I want to be mobile.
Well, in the way that our lives are now, we're sitting, we're dormant, we're not moving. If we were, let's just say we're all farmers, we'd be getting in weird positions all day long. We would, stretching wouldn't be quite the necessary part of the equation, as we're sitting, most of us sit in chairs all day long. So the muscles just sit there and shorten and shrink, and then you stand up and everything's pulling. Oh my God, it's hard to get. It's because you're then one spot too long. Body's not designed for that.
Yeah. All right, team. Listen, working to the bottom of the hour. I know Johnny's got to get rocking and rolling here. We have wrapping up our Goggins segments. If there's one thing I could offer some advice is The idea of yoga is pretty powerful. Yoga is not just about stretching. It's taking what's happening up here and taking what's happening here and taking stretching, taking mobility, and taking some mindfulness and putting it all into one. It is hard to do, but if you can find the space to do it, the return is exceptional. So that's what I would offer up is get down on the mat and do some yoga. So, but Johnny, I know you got a rock and roll quick highlight from you on today's show, brother.
Oh man, these shows are all good, man. It's like there's so many good parts of the show that comes forward. I mean, it's like I'm gonna just have to wrap the whole thing into one today.
Yeah, Larissa was good. I enjoyed Larissa. I enjoyed AJ. And you know, Johnny, Christina's one thing that's been popping up consistently here lately, and Jory said it last week, and then AJ said it again today, and I'm spending more time leaning into the word moment. Because when you can take that word, you can shut everything else out, and you can reframe that. Because Johnny, we tell stories in our head all the time, right? We're always telling stories. But if you can capture the moment and recognize that it's only a moment, that the moment's not going to be that same moment in an hour from now or 2 hours from now or a week from now.
Later.
Outlast the temporary, baby. Outlast the temporary.
Yeah, you know, and I've been really kind of hanging on that word because Jory used it a couple of days ago, you know, and AJ used it here today. That you find yourself in a moment, create awareness with that moment, right? And don't react to it because that moment might be fleeting, or a moment might not be the same in some time from now, right? I don't know. I've been finding that quite powerful. That whole idea of creating awareness around moment and then creating space. John, Christina, you follow me?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. You know, and when I go back to when I'm not giving a highlight, what I should be saying is I'm giving the whole show a compliment. I just feel like the whole thing is getting tighter and tighter. That, you know, there in the beginning there were spots that were definite high spots. Yeah. Not that there was, I don't want to say a low spot, but you could spot the high spots. Now it's like, it's just, we get rolling high and it kind of just rolls all the way through.
What's interesting here to say, Johnny, because Christina asked me a couple of days this week, how's the show? And I'm like, maybe Johnny, you can relate to this. Like we're getting up to the bat. We're hitting consistent doubles and triples and home runs. And there's a machine happening here now. And I'm quite proud of it. And I appreciate your kind words as well, Mr. Anderson. So listen, you get off it. And listen, my friend, I love you. Go take care of your lovely wife today. Give her the space she needs. Give her the unconditional love that I know you know how to give her, and keep getting after it, brother.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you guys in the morning.
Awesome. All right, Johnny's getting out of here. And Christina Flynn and myself and producer Jimmy are going to keep the show rolling here. We're going to keep going for a number more minutes here to get the creator spotlight off and keep building our community corner segment. We got big ambitions with this community corner. We see all you on the planet over on LinkedIn and Threads and everywhere. And I see that we just got a half screen here happening on there we go. Okay, so Flynn, let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling to we talked about how Goggins' discipline pushed him to greatness. Now, let's turn our attention and producer Jimmy's attention to someone looking to do the same for their community. Up next, we've got the creator spotlight in the community corner segment of the show. And today, we're going to feature a dedicated health and fitness coach. Go figure. This creator helps clients achieve their fitness goals with personalized plans designed to transform their health and lifestyle. This creator is a champion of whole health wellness as well, with a focus on reducing inflammation. Flynn, when I saw the notes, I loved that. We don't talk enough about this, frankly.
No.
Right? Or if we do, it's talked about it in really ridiculous ways, and maybe it's a topic we can talk about with Jory and Johnny in the coming days about reducing inflammation and how we can do that. Our creator here empowers clients to address the root causes of their health challenges for sustainable results. This creator is the founder of and through their online fitness and nutrition coaching, this creator delivers clients worldwide, delivering comprehensive programs that go beyond expertise. Today, we are going to take a couple of moments to create some content for somebody we want to celebrate in the creator spotlight today. So today, Mornings in the Lab, the creator spotlight, I'm going to bring this human up on stage and Flynn's going to call him out and tell us why we're celebrating him here. Today, Mornings in the Lab creator spotlight is boom, Sammy Norland. We are celebrating you, surprise, surprise, on the Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight. Flynn, Sammy helps humans maybe robots one day too, actually,
Maybe.
achieve their fitness goals with customized plans tailored for that human. Sammy's from Bend, Oregon, Forever Fitness, National Academy of Sports Medicine. Flynn, why are we celebrating Sammy Norland today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends?
So there's a couple of reasons. One of which you already mentioned. The fact that she's really focused on inflammation, I think is interesting for a variety of things. We don't talk enough about this. We don't know enough about how our bodies are impacted by inflammation, and how oftentimes when we are walking around with a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort, and we don't know why, it's likely due to inflammation. And so the fact that Sammy is spreading awareness around that, I think it is really important, and it's very valuable insights. The next part is that she talks about personalized. So we love this on the show because we talk about this all the time. There is no one system. There's no one way. She had her own experiences with inflammation and gut issues. So she's bringing that, and likely what she experienced with that, like a lot of people do with inflammation and gut issues, you realize there's no one way to do it. There's only your way. And so she's saying, yeah, you know what? We need to develop a system that's personalized to you, that takes into account your very unique nature, your very unique physiology and biology, as well as your very unique lifestyle, and build a plan based on there. And I love the fact that she calls it out. She's doing it online, because that's her way of scaling herself. So obviously she's working towards a much larger purpose than just building. It's not to say there's a right or a wrong, but I love when I see folks like her doing awesome things and being intentional about scaling themselves, and to ensure that more people are going to be able to access them and their work.
Yes. Good evening, CL from Germany. We see you here joining us for the Creator Spotlight Community Corner on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, 8 o'clock Eastern time here in North America. Of course, sometime in the evening for our friends in Germany. We are here right now celebrating Sammy Norland. Sammy, you don't know how this works because you're just seeing this for the first time, but we like to take creators on the LinkedIn platform, celebrate them, tell the world how great the work you're doing, and then tell everybody to come follow you. And then we want to invite you to join our show around this time for the Community Corner segment so you can put somebody on stage and celebrate them. So on behalf of Keith and Christina and producer Jimmy and Marty and Johnny and Richie are all doing their thing right now. We invite you to the show to come on to the Creator Corner, to Creator Spotlight on the Community Corner of the show. Sammy, happy to celebrate you. All right, Flynn, why don't we take, I see we got some awesome notes here. I love that you've put together some notes around the David Goggins personal brand. Why don't we take 5-6 minutes or so and let's talk about the personal. I know you're nation, this human being I'm hanging with right now, Christina Flynn, fucking personal brand expert. Yeah, true mother story. So if we're going to talk about personal branding and David Goggins, we got the right human being to talk about that, because Goggins is not just an athlete. He is a brand. Christina, let's talk about how he's crafted this, let's be frank, right? This unapologetic image and why it resonates with so many people. Before I throw it to you, what strikes me about Goggins is very much, and you've heard me say this before, very much like Taylor Swift. And I bring her up many, many times from a business case perspective. Taylor Swift, business case after business case on the perfect product market fit. You don't like it? That's fine. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
I could argue that Goggins is the same way. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think that's how you get to unapologetic. I think that's how you get to, I think he's a great example of what authentic branding looks like. And you could make an argument, and some people would, of like, he can't really be that extreme all the time. He can't be like, that can't be authentic. If you spend any time with his content, there's no way this fucker is making this up. There's no way. He is wired differently. He is like, I am me. I was watching a video of him just last night when we were prepping for the show on Modern Wisdom. And the guy's talking about his morning routine, and he asks them, I think it's Chris Williamson is the guy. And Chris Williamson goes like, okay, but you know, you get up, your bed's warm. You'd rather be there. You're sore from yesterday. And Goggins looks at him and goes, keep going, keep going. And so the guy's like, I don't know, like, you've had a fight with your wife, you've done this, you've done that. And he keeps labeling all these like comforts in our life. And he goes, I fucking love that. What you just did just lights me up, because I know every motherfucker out there is going to stop because of every reason that you just listed there. And I'm not. I'm going to fucking keep going. And to me, I'm like, that is wired differently. And that's just authentically him. Like, you don't get that trigger of someone just talking about life comforts and being like, keep going, fucker. I'll love this.
Often people are reluctant to share the way that he shares. Oh, too much sharing. Oh, oversharing. Oh, cringe. Oh, I don't want to end up on the Reddit, LinkedIn crying thread or the LinkedIn Reddit's sucky thread or the cringe thread. But yet Goggins gets away with it. Is it because of what he's achieved? There's got to be other Goggins out there that just don't have the Goggins attitude, Christina. But I guess what I'm asking you is that is any of his stuff cringeworthy, or is it because he's so what he is and what he's achieved that we just accept the authenticity of it? Like, I guess what I'm saying to you is, could I do the same thing that Goggins is doing when people look at me, who the fuck are you?
100%. And people are going to say, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
So
exactly. That's my point.
The point is, like, even if you're not doing that, even if you're protecting yourself, and I get it.
Yes.
Protect yourself, right? I do not think that sharing your story and building your brand around who you are as a person has to equal trauma spilling. I don't believe you have to show up as your most raw and authentic self at all time. I don't believe that the public has and deserves a right to see every single bit of you. I don't believe that. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck because I'm trying to do something bigger here. And he knows that the greatest way to actually connect with people is through story. And what he's doing, one, it's his own healing,
yes,
which oftentimes helps us to get more comfortable with vulnerability. I know it's helped me because it's bringing me on and has brought me on a journey of my own personal growth and self-reflection, which made me more comfortable with that and that story. And he's trying to be that model of possibility. He's like, my purpose is larger than just me. And if I've been through all the shit I've been through, I know that somebody out there can look at any piece of it, right? The story can be the micro stories within the larger story as well. It's not just the whole thing. You don't have to shove it down everyone's throat all at once. But he knows that he's been through a lot of shit and he's had to overcome a lot of shit. He has not been dealt an easy hand in life. And you know what? He's not alone. A lot of people haven't been dealt an easy hand in life. And so he wants to show you, and you can overcome it.
Yes. Jay, I don't agree with you, brother. If you haven't subscribed to the show, I'd welcome you to subscribe to the show. Subscribe to it, like it, tell your friends you found the greatest morning show on the planet to help guys get their day started. And you know, Jay, I could do what Goggins does. I do what Goggins does. Perhaps not to the same extreme as what Goggins does, but I very much subscribe to that theory of getting your ass out of bed, get going and grinding through it. And I do. And where I do differ in opinion from you a little bit, Christina, is I do believe it's okay to, I'm just learning. The more I keep sharing and learning, leaning in, and this has become my vulnerability platform. This truly, we started the show with purpose. Mm-hmm. This is my motherfucking purpose. Helping guys. When I get feedback from guys going, oh man, you helped me. I wasn't doing something and something AJ said it clicked, or something Johnny said it clicked, or something you said, Keith, it clicked. So when we talk about purpose and we talk about, being truthful and just sharing everything, I just find it easier to share everything because then you're not selecting what you're sharing.
But it's been a journey for you.
100% it has been a journey. Yes.
And so what I don't want people to think, the people that you're seeing out there, like the Goggins, like yourself, like me,
right?
I'm incredibly vulnerable. It has taken me years to get there. And I never want to think vulnerability equals my level or your level of vulnerability. Because if that were the case, we would have never fucking started. So go on your journey with whatever you're comfortable sharing in this moment. That could be what state you're from. You're going to connect with people in a different way. I know you want to jump in here.
Well, I think what you said though, Christina, is if you come about it authentically, it's real. Don't just wake up and start pretending that you're going to be Goggins-esque or be vulnerable like that. There's a process there for this to come out. For example, Goggins, right? We all know his history. If you're tuning into the show, you're clearly a fan or you're familiar with Goggins. He just didn't wake up one day and decide he's going to do this shit. He had to go through a lot of shortcomings, Christina Flynn, as did you, as have I been. And those shortcomings, every time you fall down, you get back up again a little harder, right? Every time you fall down, you got to fall down a lot before you can get up.
And it's a human evolution.
Yes.
Authenticity is not pretending like everything's cool. David Goggins doesn't pretend like everything's cool. If you don't want to hear my story that I'm sharing, that's okay. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to share it. But I also don't want you to think that if you're not where I am right now, that means you're not going to share anything.
Right.
Because there's a very big spectrum between what you and I share and what Goggins shares.
Yes.
And when you're just starting out, it's a comfort level that comes with time, that comes with self-discovery, that comes with knowing who the fuck your authentic self is.
Yes.
If you told me when I was first building a brand, be your authentic self, who is that? Yeah. I don't know who that is. That person has been masking and mirroring other people for decades. Who the fuck am I? I don't know. So yeah, am I really comfortable where I'm at right now? This level of unapologetic comes from, and is nowhere near done, I'll say that, you know that, comes from feeling really confident that this is authentically me. And I'm okay if you don't like authentically me, because this is who I am. And that means you just don't like me, and that's cool.
I will offer to you that as we work towards wrapping up this segment, and I think it's a great segue, we're talking Goggins, because there's really what, like, that name resonates for every human on the planet with something very, very specific, right?
And what are the parts that resonate?
Extreme. I think when you hear Goggins, you think extreme. You hear discipline. You hear never giving up. You hear endurance. You hear fighting through the pain. You hear, resilience.
What do each one of those things represent?
Why
do you know about those things? Because he's told the story around them.
Told the story, yes.
When people talk about Goggins, they're like, this guy's fucking extreme. He does all this stuff. If you just said what he did every day, if you said his morning routine, people are like, so? Lots of people do that. Yeah. People go, this motherfucker was a former Navy SEAL, and he ran on broken legs.
Yes.
They're not saying he was a former Navy SEAL and he was this colonel, that colonel, and this is his journey. They're saying this motherfucker ran on broken legs. That is the power of a story. You remember this guy was in his school bus and he watched somebody's head got smashed open by being driven over by the school bus. He comes from unbelievable domestic abuse. Like, you think about his story, his life, and because you know those parts of it, the facts, they matter less, because you know the transformation that's required in order to go from a little kid in Buffalo who had unbelievable domestic abuse to doing what he's doing now. That transformation is not normal. And that's why people resonate with it.
I just got goosebumps because Carter, my son, was over last night. We were talking, and he's reading the Goggins book right now. And he's like, Dad, he goes, man, he's on chapter 3, and he's talking through the abuse and some of the shit that he's had to go through to get to where he is today. And still didn't happen by accident, right? And I love how you really lean into the power of the story, right? And in a world of AI generated content, in a world of Coca-Cola is being slammed right now for all their AI-generated sloppery. The human story is more important than ever. More important than ever.
Which means you need to figure out what the fuck yours is. And that's going to take some time, and that's totally okay. But start leaning in now. Like I said, in the brand bite, don't just start posting. That's way too fucking much. Just start getting comfortable and trying to understand who the fuck you are. Start writing things down to get it out of your brain and into your head to see what will resonate. You don't have to be public. You don't have to be vulnerable initially. But if you want to do this work, if you want to set up yourself with a personal brand as a personal asset, you are going to invest and have to invest a lot of time. So the just start is starting there with the self-reflection and figuring out who the fuck you are. Is he frozen? I've stunned him. I just thought he was like deeply, deeply ingrained with what I was saying. I was like sitting here being like, oh my God, this shit is really good. He is like staring deep into my soul. And then I stopped. And all of a sudden, here I was on my own. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? I'll stop. Listen, We're wrapping up business and branding. Keith might come back. Keith might not. But you know what? This is what Keith would call building the plane as we fly it, which is not a unique statement at all. So what we will do is this. We will wrap up this segment. I feel really good about it. I hope all y'all do. We had a lot of people in the comments today. Cosmic Vision. We got ZC, CL, Jay, we see you. Good Time was here earlier. Listen, Danny was here earlier. We love all y'all. We really appreciate you showing up every day. This is the only morning show, live morning show, where you can come here and you can be accountable to yourself with us Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. Eastern. We are going to be here and we want to help you reach your biggest, baddest, most audacious fucking goals. So we hope you join us tomorrow. We've got folks on tomorrow. We are covering, again, another celebrity. I'm going to tease it. Another celebrity in their morning routine so that you can learn what other people are doing and take the bits and pieces that are going to serve you better as we move forward. We appreciate you. We love you. I have no outro music. I don't. So maybe I'll just go back to that song I was singing. Have a lovely day. We'll see you later. Goodbye, nation. Why do birds